Welcome back everyone to the second scenario in the fourth community driven campaign, this one, the Blacksmith and the Bear. The end of the first scenario we had a giant bear tumbling down the hill at us. We had this poll then put on Board Game Geek, and as you can see, majority of people, 56.5%, decided staying still and hoping for the best was the most we could achieve against the bear. So with that in mind, we had then this following event. The bear continues to charge down the mountain. It takes a while, and as it gets closer and closer, a fear creeps into you that maybe this wasn't the best idea. And then it's upon you. One swipe of its giant white paw and you're on the ground, blood splattered across the stone. It towers over you and roars, ready to crush your puny head in its jaws like a grape. But then there is a flash of light. Strange patterns of fire light up the sky right above you, and the bear is clearly startled. Full of sudden panic, it bounds back up the mountain, leaving you to contemplate just how close to death you came. Looking up at the sky, you notice a smoke trail leading further down the mountain. And we then had two options to either follow the smoke trail or follow the bear back up the mountain. And having just been close to being devoured, the majority of people wanted nothing further to do with the bear. So as you can see, we decided to follow the smoke trail. We had the event here following that. You follow the smoke trail, and it doesn't take long to find the source. A grizzled orchid with one arm sits by a campfire, smoking an ornate pipe. "Yes, I saved your life," she grumbles. "No need to thank me. Numerous creatures from the north seem to be travelling down through the Copernecks as if called by something. I can't help to think we are at least somewhat responsible, so I'd rather not have your deaths on our conscience in addition to everything else." You try to press the orchid further, but she waves her hand at you dismissively and then rests it on a massive axe at her side. "Look, just accept that you need to move on now. Any further interruptions would disrupt the flow, and I will not have that." So we could either leave the orchid in peace and continue the search for the star iron, or insist on helping the orchid. And to our great saviour, and you can see I've added my vote to this, we decided to leave the orchid in peace. No need to press her. We've given our thanks, and they wanted no further part with us, so we moved on. And this is where scenario 2 picks up. So, not wanting to disturb the orchid further, you move on some distance back up the mountain and then rest for a bit. It has been an eventful day, and your wounds paint the whole story. Unfortunately, you aren't able to fully recover before the urge to press on overwhelms you. You are apparently trespassing on some Savas sacred site, and then went and killed two of their number. You just don't feel safe making camp out in the open so close to where the incident occurred. On the other hand, the Savas reaction to you mentioning the star iron gives you a sneaking suspicion that it could be close. You figure it is best to find somewhere a little more secure to rest for the night, and then resume your search in the morning. And so, scanning your surroundings, you do see a large outcropping not too far up the mountain. It should provide some sort of shelter, and might even be a cave. What you find when you crest the ridge, however, is not as welcoming as you'd hoped. It's a network of caves, which is nice, but they appear to be full of angry drakes, which is not so nice. There's a big one straight ahead that looks very interested in killing you and feeding you to her brood. So we have, again, quite an open scenario. There's no doors in this. We have a few spawning points labelled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 around here. And what's going to occur? So we start wounded as a result of our encounter with the bear. And we have, again, a strong elite. So we have this Spitting Drake Queen who has 3 times the normal hit points because we are playing a 3-character game. The nests each have hit points. So at our level, since we're solo, it's 1 higher than it would normally be. So it's actually 1 plus 2 times the characters. So each of these nests have 9 hit points for us. And each time the Queen Drake suffers up to 6 damage from any source, a Drake is spawned adjacent to the nest entrance, corresponding to that amount of damage. So if we deal it between 1 and 6 damage, we will have to spawn a Drake at those numbers. Equally, at the end of each round, a Drake is spawned adjacent to the nest, whose number corresponds to the round number. So there's going to be a lot of spawning Drakes. Spawned enemies will not activate the round they are spawned. So we get a little bit of knowledge as to where they're going to be popping up based on our damage before they will react. If a nest is destroyed, no Drake spawns, so we could kill the low number nests to stop those Drakes from appearing. Nests 1, 2, 5 and 6 create rending Drakes, and 3 and 4 are spitting Drakes. And for 3 characters, any even fog tiles are elite. So for us, what that means, anything on the right hand side is going to be elite. The bottom and top row are going to be rending Drakes, and the middle is spitting. So I have laid out the tokens in 3 rows beside, half a stack of rending at the top and bottom, and the remaining spitting Drakes in the middle here, to remind me when we're spawning from a given number where they are. I've also added silver and gold coins to remind me this half a normal enemy and this half a gold. But again, Isaac is being very tight with the coins. We only have 1 enemy which isn't going to be spawned, so we will only have 1 coin available to us during this scenario. Our goal is simply to kill the Queen Drake. We don't have to eliminate everything. Unfortunately, we're not going to have to eliminate every single nest to stop them spawning and kill everything that appears. So let's have a little look at how we have that set up then. That window open. Yep. So we've only got 2 types of enemies, so I've made this window smaller and left more space to see our card actions along the bottom here. And I've laid these out. So numbers 1 and 2 are the only spaces which don't have a Drake next to them. But we have an elite spitting and rending Drake. This, and I've placed the coin underneath her to remind me, is the Queen, our target. Then we have a normal rending Drake and a normal spitting Drake. So it's not as many hit points as we had to take down previously. The Queen only has 30, so that's not as tough as those Savas we had to deal with in the previous encounter. And I think our Scoundrel is probably well placed to try and take that out, and hopefully not summon too many other creatures alongside it. If we can play something like Backstab again, we could hopefully get up to an attack 7. If we're dealing 7 damage, we won't trigger a spawn. So that's pretty useful, as long as we can poison the enemy. And wounds as well will be fine, because it's damage from double check that. Oh no, it's damage from any source. Oh, so we definitely don't want to put wounds. It's not an attack, and otherwise, yeah, okay, so definitely wound is out of the equation. So I've laid out with the Scoundrel in the middle. I think Scoundrel, as I said, is going to be key, so I don't want anything preventing her from being able to get up to the Queen, and hopefully in such a position as to stop other allies being adjacent. So what I was looking at doing, I've already chosen through a few cards. The Cragheart I want to go first, just to get this nature's lift into play. It's 2 heals, so it will get rid of the wounds that people are suffering, except for the Cragheart. I'll heal the Tinkerer and the Scoundrel. And also, we'll activate this first. They all take 1 damage, but then they'll be shielded. Then we'll heal the wound and that damage away. That just protects them. Then the Tinkerer can move next and move quickly up next to the Drake. So with 6 movement, we'll be able to get into the corner here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And summon the Decoy. Hopefully summon the Decoy here. And that will soak up the damage from these attacks. The Scoundrel then going quite slow, but the Queen shouldn't be moving because the Decoy is adjacent. So with move 5, we can then move to here and give ourselves advantage and invisibility, ready to do a double attack on the next round. So basically it's all just setting up for that second round massive hit. And actually thinking of that, how quick can we get our Tinkerer to go? No, not fast enough. I was thinking maybe we'd want to put the Decoy here in the corner and have our Tinkerer here so we could affect the Scoundrel with a +1 attack, but I don't think that's worth worrying about. We'll just tuck the Tinkerer into the corner out the way in safety. So let's lock in those first initiative numbers. We have the Tinkerer on 16, Scoundrel pretty slow for her on 60, Cragheart for a change going first. Little sip of tea before we see what they draw. Best way to start a fight is with a good cup of tea. So let's see. Okay, so the Rending Drakes are moving first. And then the Spitting Drakes. Okay, that's not too much of a problem. So we have Rending Drake number 2, the Elite, first of all, as a move of 6. And the Cragheart's going to be the target. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down here. Okay. The Elite then has an attack of 4. Oh, well, okay, so we could take 8 damage to our Cragheart, or we could discard a card, and I think we're gonna not discard. We could lose a card. I think we're gonna lose one. I think I'll lose this card. Avoid that damage. And we would get wounded, but as a scenario effect, we begin with wound. So that's fine. Then the normal Rending Drake. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so we're coming over here, and the Tinkerer is going to be the target as the initiative number is lower. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Unfortunately, we haven't got the shield in effect yet, but this is just an attack 2. 3 damage. I think that's okay for the Tinkerer to take. 1, 2, 3. Again, we would take a wound effect, but we're already wounded. So Cragheart, we're wounded, we take damage. And we've got these options. So let's work out whether this shield is still worth doing. I think it almost certainly is, because yeah, the Spitting Drakes fly, and they're gonna have attacks which muddle. Yeah, we'll do this. So we'll do this first. All allies suffer 1 damage, and then they get a shield 2. Which lasts for the whole round. That is worth 2 experience for the Cragheart. And then we will do the top half of Nature's Lift, healing 2 and blessing at range 4. Well, we are adjacent to the Scoundrel and only 1 away from the Tink, so that's not a problem. So the Tinkerer will heal 2 and lose his wound, and the Scoundrel will heal that 1 damage and heal the wound. We get blessed. Oh, I laid them out on top of our attack decks to remind me. But I still forgot to look at them before we started the scenario. Straggler and Hoarder for the Cragheart. We will not be able to loot 5 money tokens, so we're going to go for Straggler. I'm hoping we have some goals which are actually achievable this time as opposed to the last scenario. We can allow none of your character allies to become exhausted during the scenario, or have our current hit point value must be equal to your maximum hit point value at the end of the scenario. The Tinkerer, he does have pretty good heal cards, but I think Protector probably slightly more likely. Yeah, let's go for Protector for him. And then Scoundrel, reveal a room tile. Well, again, we cannot do that, so loot no money token or treasure. Actually, that one is pretty good since there's only 1 coin. Although the Scoundrel's not going to be happy about not picking up a coin. There isn't much loot here that they're missing out on, so that's a pretty good option. Nice. So that was the Cragheart's turn. Let's mark them as done. Then the Tinkerer. So the Spitting Drake is still up at the top. We're going to play both of these lost cards. And we've got move 6. We will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is not a coin we can pick up. This is just a nest, but I've only got number tokens 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a B, but it's close enough to a 6. I don't have a 5, but it's the only one left over. So we're just going to go here, and then we will summon the Decoy. Did I get tokens for decoys ready? I used the GMT trays fit monsters in quite nicely. So we'll have our Decoy here. And that has 6 hit points. That is actually a total of 3 experience as well. Tinkerer, so that's quite nice. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Do I want the Tinkerer to go invisible? Who is targeting him? There's going to be 3 drakes that are going to activate now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Decoy is going to be the focus here, here, and here. So the Tinkerer might get attacked, but he does have shield. But the Decoy also has shield 2 because all allies are affected for the duration of this round, and the Decoy is an ally. So I'm not too worried. So let's leave our Cloak of Invisibility for now. So the Spitting Drake, the boss queen will activate first. She does not. She will move to avoid disadvantage. That's unfortunate. Yeah, that does ruin our... Yeah, ruin our plan. So, forget they fly. Would we have placed our decoys differently? We want... We want to be able to get adjacent. I think potentially we were here. Where would it fly to? We'd move one to here, wouldn't it, to avoid disadvantage against that token. So the Tinkerer would take an attack here, but equally the Scoundrel can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and be adjacent. Yeah, I think that's how we would set it up with our Tinkerer. So that is the Spitting Drake moving, and then we have an attack 4 at range. Oh, actually, this has a number 1. Yeah, perfect. I haven't used this before, but it has 6 hit points. It has a move of 2. Oh, that's pretty good. That's our red token. So attack 4, -1, -2 because of the shield. So that is 1 damage. And also a muddle onto the decoy, which doesn't have an attack. Okay. Then the other elite will activate. It has a range of 3, so we'll have to move here. 1, 2, 3. And he will do an attack 4. That is 2 damage. And then the normal has a range of 2. So we'll have to move 1, 2. And it's an attack 2. -2 for the shield, so that's no damage, but muddling the Tinkerer. Excellent. So that's the Spitting Drake done. The Scoundrel, we then had move 5 into Strengthen and Invisibility. We will move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give ourselves Strengthen and Invisibility. And that also creates darkness. Perfect. So no one caused any damage that round as far as we're concerned, but we didn't take much damage. That's pretty reasonable. So at the end of this round, let me just reread this. In addition, at the end of each round, a drake is spawned adjacent to the nest entrance whose number corresponds to the round number. Okay. So we need against nest number 1, which would be a normal enemy. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's place the drake here. That's still 3 away. And that is a normal rending drake. Number 6. Perfect. Okay, so we need to choose our cards for the next round. So we're set up nicely for a strong hit Move the coin with her. Strong hit on the queen here, because we've got attack 3, 4, 5 when adjacent to an ally, which it is, 6, 7 when adjacent to none of its allies, which it is not. We definitely want to do that. And we will also play this bottom action, gain an additional +2. So that will be an attack 9. So that is definitely our combination there. The Tinkerer cannot activate before 6, but no initiative numbers close enough to that. But we're muddled. I think the disarm is probably a good option if we can go early and disarm a couple of either rending drakes or spitting drakes. That could be very good for us. And immobilize one adjacent enemy if we can immobilize. Yeah, immobilize the spitting drake we're adjacent to, the queen. That would be really strong. Go with those. The Cragheart is looking like he's going to have to fend off all the rending drakes by himself. So, do I still have it? Did I not bring it? I didn't bring it. Our retaliate card. That's a shame. Probably could have done with that right about now. So what else could we do? We could create some obstacles. We could block here, which would mean the rending drakes over here would look then to attack the Scoundrel and Tinkerer. That's not really what we want to do. If anything, I prefer to block, maybe say here, here. Here would be quite a good block. So any rending drake from here and here would have to take a long path round. Yeah, that is quite nice. So we'd need a move of 3 to be able to get to that position, and it would be something to do next turn. We've got move 3 there. Would like to get the additional ranged attacks out. But I think we'll stick with trying to slow them down, because I think we can whittle away at the queen fairly quickly. So we'll go for this disarm. As it stands, number 5 here will target this. No, we're 2 away. That's 3 away. Yeah, so we are the target for all of the rending drakes. So we could probably go for that. The rending drakes have 7 hit points. Don't have any bottom attack cards. Let's go with this as well. I think we'll go. They do hit hard. I think we're going to have to go quickly. And Actually, maybe muddle rather than disarming. We've got disarm with the Tinkerer. We can add muddle and curse cards onto at least 2 of the drakes. That'd be good. And we've got the move there as well to deal a point of damage. We could potentially move amongst both the drakes here to deal each of them 1 damage. Be worthwhile. So we'll go with those options. So let's go to the next round and lock these in. So the Cragheart's on 29, Tinkerer is on 19, and the Scoundrel on 6. Let's draw some. So the Rending Drakes are just doing a very big attack. Spitting Drakes, oh, that's stunning. That is awful, but at least they're going very slow. Yeah, that's pretty bad. So we'll probably have to disarm. Actually, no, the Tinkerer and Scoundrel can both go invisible. So then the Decoy can soak up the attacks which stun it, and that's really of little effect. And then we can have the Tinkerer disarm 2 of these Rending Drakes to stop them doing so much damage. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Okay, first of all though, we're on to the Scoundrel. We'll activate the bottom action here first of all. And then the top action here. So altogether we have 3 plus 2 because it's adjacent to an ally, plus 2 because it's adjacent to none of its allies, plus 2 because of this card. That is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we will also double it after we flipped a modifier. Altogether, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 XP for the Scoundrel as well. So let's mark that on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And with advantage, we have +0, +1. So we have 10 doubled to 20 damage. Excellent. That will not spawn an enemy because it is not between 1 and 6. That is a lost card. This is a lost card. And we will use our Cloak of Invisibility to stay invisible up here. We lose Strengthen, but we're going to remain invisible. Yes, that was a fantastic turn. Okay, then we've got the Tinkerer. The Decoy will move 1, be adjacent, and it will lose Muddle. Not that that particularly matters. And then the Tinkerer, we had target 1 adjacent enemy and immobilize. And move 2. So we will definitely immobilize the Elite Spitting Drake isn't moving anyway. Yeah, they do not have moves. But never mind. It was a good plan. Immobilize. And then yeah, I'm not too worried about these attacks. We can't get them onto the Decoy. 3 hit points left. It might die from it, but yeah, that's okay. So we'll move 1, 2, and reviving shock. Lets us disarm 2 at range 3. So we will attack the elite first of all. We are muddled, so we have disadvantage on our attack 2, +0, -1, so that is 1 damage on Rending Drake 2. And, oh, not muddle, disarm. And then it makes no difference between 5 and 6 here, so we'll just go for number 5 again with disadvantage, +0. Never mind, +0 it is, for 2 damage and disarm. Perfect. And then we will also use his cloak of invisibility. We will lose muddle at the end of our turn and we are invisible. There's no experience. Okay, so the Rending Drakes, number 2 will activate first, and he's already adjacent, so he will just do nothing. Number 5 will move 1, 2. He does still have movement, but that's okay. And then this guy will move 1, 2, 3, 4. He's just a normal, so he will use an attack 3 and wound the Cragheart. 4 damage on the Cragheart. We lose a card. Yeah, I think we will, to avoid 4 damage. We'll lose. So effectively we just take the wound effect, but the Cragheart is already wounded. Nice. So Cragheart, start of his turn, lose a hit point. And we went with, yeah. So it's an attack 1. We could stay where we are with this move and deal them damage. They would all take 1 damage, and then we will just attack with disadvantage. Or we could move. We're pretty blocked from where we are. We do have the winged shoes though, so we could get out of it. Range of 2. We would have to move, say, here, which is just where we could reach. We wouldn't be able to hit both of these drakes. Stood here though. This area is. So I think quite a weak attack the drakes are doing this turn anyway. So let's no, we'll move 1, 2, 3. 3. Thinking where we want to put the obstacles next round to make these Rending Drakes have to run the whole way round. Although it looks like we're probably not going to have 6 rounds. You know what? I'm just going to activate it, make them all suffer 1 damage where they are, and then we'll do the attack disadvantage. So we will create the earth element. we will deal each of these drakes 1 damage. We will remove their disarm. And then we've got attack 1 with disadvantage. So we'll do it in order. The elite first of all, number 2, +1, +0. So we'll take the +0, 1 damage, and muddle. It's number 5, -1, 0. So that's no damage, but muddle. And against number 6, +0, -1. So again, no damage, but muddled. And that is 1, 2, 3 curses into their deck. Excellent. We need to reshuffle Tinkerer quickly. One reason why I like sleeves is you just quick and easy shuffle without learning how to shuffle. Cragheart's done. So the Spitting Drakes. We have the Queen first of all. Scoundrel and Tinkerer are invisible. It is immobilized and also doesn't have a move on this attack card, so it will just attack with disadvantage against our summon. So let's draw 2 attack cards. Curse and a -1. So we will take the curse for 0 damage and muddle. The next Drake has a range of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will attack. Fantastic. So that is going to kill our summon. Bye bye, Decoy. The Decoy would have been stunned as well. And then the normal has no target within range 3. It cannot move, but will not attack our Cragheart. And that is that. All right. So we have 3 muddled rending drakes next to us. Probably look at +2 to our melee attacks and do avalanche. We can use the earth element to make it a 5, 6, 7. Attack 7 against 2 of them is pretty good, so it's fairly slow. We've got a reasonable amount of hit points and 3 cards in our hand, so we shouldn't exhaust. The Tinkerer is invisible. I think we do not want to inflict a wound on the Queen. Probably something like Ink Bomb. And we could give ourselves +1 the attack for the round. We would be going slowly. But we are invisible, so I don't think that's the problem. The only bad thing would be it means everyone's focusing on the Cragheart yet again. Yeah, I think maybe we need to go a bit faster. Let's do this as well, actually. Attack 5, range 2 on the bottom. We're within range 2 of that other Spitting Drake. Does have 8 hit points, but yeah, I like that. Going nice and quick on 18 with that one out. The Scoundrel. What we can do, use this bottom attack also against the number 2 Drake here. It would get +2 from our single out ability for not being adjacent to any allies. And then flanking strike. Wouldn't be adjacent to any of our allies anymore because our Decoy died. We could poison and then do swift bow, but we would have to be still adjacent and disadvantaged. No one has any shields. Yeah, let's just do flanking strike and also the attack at the bottom here. That's pretty good. Hopefully we won't summon anything. Oh, I did forget, didn't I? At the end of that round, we're gonna spawn another elite rending drake. That's going to cause us a few problems. Elite rending drake number 1. So yeah, we definitely want to finish things off quickly because Cragheart's getting very surrounded down there. Yeah, so that seems good. We can see how the first attack goes and potentially do a second attack against the Queen if need be. That should be enough to finish her off this round. We aren't strengthened anymore, but it'll be 2 attack 5s. Yeah, odds are pretty reasonable that we should kill her with those. And if we're a little bit away, the Tinkerer can come in with the ink bomb and finish her off. Yeah, that's good. And we're going pretty quick doing those as well. Except for the Cragheart, who's going to take a pounding. So, next round. We have Scoundrel on 4, Tinkerer on 18, Cragheart's on 53. Yeah, that's fine. Let's see what they're doing. Oh wow, yeah, the Cragheart needs to get out of there. That is terrible. 3 attacks. Wow. Okay, well, at least he's going before them. The Spitting Drake, and they're not moving as well, which is good. The Spitting Drakes move 2 and then some big attacks. Okay, but they should be out of the equation by then. Pretty certain we're no longer invisible. I just forgot to take those off. Scoundrel then. We've got attack 5. We'll do it against the Queen. That's 3 and singled out, which will give us 1 more XP for 5. So down to 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. We will summon at base 3, but it will not activate this turn. So let's put that on there to remind me. Then I think we should go ahead and use our other attack 5 against the queen as well. That is another experience. And +1, so 6 damage. Again, against number 6, our final rending Drake. But not going to activate for this round. That is also 1 XP actually at the bottom there, so 1 more for the Scoundrel. Scoundrel does make a lot of experience. Worth discarded. Alright, so we then have the Tinkerer, and we have to take out the Queen, so our best bet is Ink Bomb. So that is an attack 4. We can only target the Queen 3. So all that, and our 1 coin is there. So it is Creating Darkness, and we get 1 XP for the Tinkerer. And we cannot make it to the coin, but we can get 2 XP. Let's attack Drake number 2. We could attack the Rending Drake down here actually. That is Rending Drake 6. He has 6 hit points. That one has 8 hit points. We're only looking to make sure none of our allies exhaust, so let's go for the Spitting Drake. Attack 5. Attack 5. Down to 4. But again, 2 experience for the Tinkerer. Quite nice. Then we've got our Cragheart, our safest option, but we definitely will not be dying, and also gets us 2 XP. We'll use the bottom of Avalanche just as its basic movement, using also the Winged Shoes, 2 movement with Jump. We'll move 1, 2 to here, and then use Forceful Storm, which disarms, targeting here, here, and here. We'll have 1 attack with disadvantage, and then a normal attack. That will get the Cragheart 2 experience. Let's do the disadvantaged attack first of all. +1, +0. That's 3 damage on number 5. But importantly, a disarm. And against 6, +0. I think I might have done 1 too many there, but it doesn't make a difference. He is also disarmed. Yeah, pretty good. So we have, within 3 rounds, achieved our objective. Just by, well, I mean, 1 turn dealing 20 damage was, yeah, definitely breaking the back of this scenario. Otherwise, though, I think with the Tinkerer moving up here, we did, how much was it? 13 damage? Something like that this turn, even just using normal attacks without the Scoundrel's double bonus, and that did take extra turns to set up for. So I think, although it is a 1 hit card for a lot of damage. You probably wouldn't be too far behind this point, even without the Scoundrel. Our big worry would have been taking a lot of damage with the Cragheart. He had 3 cards in hand though. Actually at the start of his turn just then he should have lost 1 hit point from his wound he's still carrying. But with these Rending Drakes disarmed, he wouldn't be taking any damage this turn from them. Spitting Drakes do have strong attacks this round. They're probably the ones to be sort of cautious of. Yeah, Scoundrel is probably going to take 6 damage this turn. No, Tinker is closer. 6 damage here, 4 damage from the other one, but still, you'd probably only need 1 further turn, piling a lot of damage onto that Queen to finish taking her down. So I think this is intended to be a very short scenario. You just wail on the Queen. I think if you focus on, I mean, particularly in a solo game where these have 9 hit points, maybe when they've only got 6 hit points, normally for 3 characters, it might be more worthwhile taking out the numbers 1, 2, and 3, and then you know you're not getting any more spawned creatures. But I think with the normal realm of damage that you'll be dealing to the Queen, we spawned 2, it would have been a 3rd Drake just from the damage we dealt to her. I think you're always going to have the maximum amount of creatures out, no matter, even if you kill some of these spawning points. I do think you just have to go heavy, go hard onto the Queen and take her out quickly. Definitely felt like a much easier scenario compared to the previous one. But let's have a look at our conclusion here. Let me change the screen over. There we go. The Queen screeches and falls to the stone with a wet thump. The other drakes seem stunned for a moment, then fear takes over, and they scatter, fleeing from your martial prowess. And none too soon, you are absolutely spent. You keep standing long enough for the other drakes to disappear from sight, and then you collapse yourself. All your wounds have opened up and multiplied. You need to find some place to rest and patch yourself up, but you're not sure this place is the best option. It looks like a large network of caves with multiple entrances, but the place has got to be teeming with more drakes, and who knows when they'll grow bold enough to attack you again. At the same time, trying to climb further up the mountain seems equally dangerous in your current condition. So we gain a item reward, Drake Scale Armor. I will just show you as well, the poll is already up on Board Game Geek for this scenario as to what you want to do. Shall we rest here? Yes or no? I won't make my selection because then it will show the results, but do just pop on. It's in the Gloomhaven as Blacksmith and the Bear. Leave your vote as to how you want this story to continue. And I will see you for the next one. Take care and bye for now.